I was looking through gamebanana and found this mod for Undertale that completely mirrors the game. I don't know, I thought it'd be cool. I have not tested this, by the way. I opened the game once just to make sure that it was working. So I don't know if controls are reversed. They are not reversed. That is a bit disappointing, but no buts. It's just disappointing. First sprite looks very weird. What about in battle? In battle is not reversed either. Well, that's what I thought, but when I entered the dummy tutorial, I did not expect that. I don't know why I didn't expect that. Something that I bet no one was expecting though, is just how long it takes to flee encounters. That makes sense! When I was heading through the ruins, it was like replaying the game for the first time. I've done so many runs of Undertale at this point, where it's taken its own special spot in my brain, and I knew I would have to fight against my own head to proceed. Sure, most of the rooms are just long hallways, where you just hold the same direction the entire time, but then puzzles showed up and decided to be the main enemy of this entire run. I only remember this puzzle going forward. This is completely new to me now. Rememorizing it, we had to fight Napsblue to continue through the ruins, and this is where battles really started to get tricky. I'm so used to doing the exact same thing for each encounter every run, so when I'm forced to mirror my gameplay, it's so much harder than you think it is. Try playing through your most played game in reverse. If you told me that you did it with no difficulties, not only would I not believe you, but you wouldn't believe yourself either. When trying to find the faded ribbon, I went down almost every hole except the one that contained it. I want to say that this is because of the mod, but I'm gonna be completely honest here. This was just me being an idiot. Not long later, I reached Toriel's house, and I just want to say that this just feels off. Like, why is Toriel on this side of the house now? If there's something I've learned from reading my own chat, it's better not to question it. I beat Toriel after getting hit 9,000 times, and after meeting up with Sands of Papyrus, I started to notice that the faces on the text boxes are backwards too. It's a small thing, but I love the small details for stuff like this. But if there's something that I don't love, it's the battle menuing. I haven't accidentally killed anything yet, but it's just a matter of time before I do something unintentional. I went to go visit the snowman, and this, hands down, is the most unmodified room in the entire game. After saying goodbye and getting electrocuted, I thought it would be fun to try the ball game. I feel like I'm not gonna get this in the hole in time. Or even is the hole, it's on this side now. I swear I'm better at minigolf than this. Now we're at the dog couple, and around this point is where I started getting used to the mirrored attacks. Instead of it feeling like a completely different game, it just felt like it was reversed. And that's exactly what you should be feeling, since that's literally what the whole mod is. But even though I was getting used to battles, the overworld was a different story. This is gonna be weird. Now we go here. Now I forget where I go next. What if I just did it normally? I'm doing my own path. I messed up. Okay, I hit the switch. I don't know if it worked or not. It actually works. Sure, I fell off, but I did manage to solve the puzzle. The rest of Snowden was very easy, but I decided not to skip a Pyrrhus run, and I actually died. So much for getting used to the battles. Thankfully, that was the only death I had to him, but I really wanted trying to complete this deathless. And then I go and lose to Papyrus? What is wrong with me? At least I have you two to keep me sane. Jokes aside, Waterfall was the most interesting area so far. Everything was pretty much the same, up until the second Undyne chase. Usually you just throw yourself at the walls to manipulate the spears, but here I didn't have to do that. The spears were showing up behind me rather than in front, so I could just walk through this maze that took longer than it should have until Undyne caught up to me. And if I was disappointed with the death to Papyrus, Mad Dummy was even worse. Not only did I die to him, but I was starting to get confused again. To do a 5 cycle, it requires you to guide the bullets in a specific way, but because the fight is mirrored, I was messing up so much to the point where I had a 7 cycle on, and if it wasn't bad enough, I nearly died a second time. Top that with the darkening lamp room being annoying, and Waterfall was the most annoying area so far. But we're not done, because we haven't even fought Undyne yet, and let me tell you, this was the most difficult fight in the entire game. Undyne's one of my best bosses, but part of that's due to memorizing the attack patterns. Do I need to explain why it being reversed was hard? I probably died like 7 times until I had enough and just cheated my way through. Now we're in Hotland, and I don't know if this is reversed. It actually is, but that wasn't the only thing that was mirrored. There we go. I think I did that wrong. I did it correctly. I decided to actually fight Muff with this run instead of using the spider donut, and I just don't do this fight so often that this is basically just me doing the battle normally. And Mettaton felt the exact same to me too, since I pay more attention to what inventory slot my armors are in. It is one thing I instantly noticed though. It was just how strange he looked with his sprite flipped. I expected Asgore to feel so much different, but to my surprise, he actually felt the exact same. All of his attacks are no different if it's normal or mirrored. That means I had no trouble, right? I make this joke way too often. Omega Flowey was flipped too, which was something I didn't expect for some reason. It does feel very different, but that doesn't stop this from being one of the easiest fights in the game. If it's your first time, I understand it being difficult since it's so different from everything else, but if you're at least trying to dodge the attacks, you're gonna make it through each phase despite feeling like it's all over. I reset back to my last save, did some story stuff, ended my stream because my internet kept dying, and then entered the True Lab. I feel like this fight's gonna be pretty normal, but it's just head spam everywhere. Oh. Well, once we start getting to the other amalgamates, I feel like it's gonna get a little bit tricky. Probably Lemon Bread's gonna be the most difficult. Like, this is just throw the stick, and that's the entire fight. But Lemon Bread. I mean, this attack is pretty normal. Maybe Lemon Bread isn't gonna be that challenge. Okay, never mind. Yeah, I was definitely wrong in assuming that Lemon Bread would be the hardest. I think this is the most unchanged. And I just fought again. How did I do that twice? And then this is just not even a fight. Like, sure, you can get hit by this. It does 1 damage. Sure, it doesn't go away, but like, are you really gonna try and get hit? And even then, it's only 3 attacks. I think Reaper Bird might actually be the most changed. Like, sure, it is just a mirrored version of it, but it does feel a little bit different. The others felt the exact same. After turning the power back on and somehow entering the castle from Alphys's basement, it was time to fight Azrael. And this too didn't feel that different. There were definitely some attacks that felt weird, most notably Shocker Breaker and Chaos Buster, but it wasn't enough to confuse me to the point where it was basically a new attack. Shocker Breaker 2 was by far the attack I felt the most confused on, but it was really just the same old Azrael fight. After nearly 3 hours, it was so sad to see it end, as this was a lot more fun than I initially thought. But while I was fighting Azrael, I couldn't stop thinking about something. This cutscene looks like it was made in MS Paint.